morning, when I splash it on, it makes me feel like a man.
'Tis the season to be jolly and joyous. Fa la la, with a burst of pleasure we feel it right.
Today's review is Rocky 2 from 1979. 1979, before I was even born. I don't have the original box because all I do have is all 6 movies of Rocky Balboa. But there's the disc there for Rocky 2. Only a PG, 1979, starring Sylvester Stallone, Carl Weathers as Rocky Balboa and Apollo Creed. The plot of the movie. The plot of the movie is Rocky Balboa, he's coming off his fight from the first one and he's struggling to cope with life after boxing. He is going to retire now. He's going to retire. He's struggling to live life and now he wants to live a lawful life. In the first one he worked for a loan shark. Now he's a family man. He's trying to find lawful employment. He's learning how to deal with his 5 minutes of fame, but he has got a little bit of money behind him, so he's bought himself a house, he's moved uptown a little bit, he's away from that shitty little flat, he's into a nice little house, but it's still on the rough streets of Philadelphia. Themes and tones of this movie. This movie is there to entertain, as it gives you a close bond with Rocky, as he is still trying to get through in this underdog story.
It's the best looking thing I've seen all day.
You look tired.
The impression that this movie gave to me is that you've always got to keep moving forward. You can't give up. You've always got to keep going, striving for another day, never giving up on your dreams. Another powerful performance from Sylvester Stallone, as he shows you, with grit and determination and the right support structure behind you, that you can keep moving forward in your life no matter how bad things get. It's a brilliant performance from Sylvester Stallone.
If you don't want me mixing with Creed no more, we'll make out some other kind of way, you know?
There's one thing I want you to do for me.
What?
Come here.
What?
Win. Win.
What are we waiting for? Take this!
A great performance from Talia Shire in this, who plays Adrian. Her acting in this is basically to show how much she cares about Rocky. She's there for Rocky. She supports Rocky. It's all about how much care she gives to Rocky to whether Rocky can move on with his life. And she does the performance absolutely brilliant. She has come away. There was like a shy character in the first one. She's still shy, but she's moved out of that shyness now. Rocky sort of brought her out with it. And she brings that forward really good in the movie.
It's not all right, Paul. If he goes blind, you walk away. I can't. I love you.
Carl Weathers, who plays Creed. There's a lot of character development, I think, with this character. And I think Carl Weathers plays it brilliant. He's no longer just a Muhammad Ali impersonator. It's shown that he's no longer a fun character. His ego is being hurt. And he still wants to show the rest of the world that he is the best. And Carl Weathers plays this, he's more angry now. He plays it a lot more angry rather than the fun one, the fun guy in the first one.
You got the decision. Man, I won, but I didn't beat him. What are you afraid of, Tony?
Burgess Meredith in this, who plays Rocky's trainer Mick. I think he's still the same type of guy, but now I think he's showing that he's got more feelings for Rocky in this one. He's showing, like in the first one, it's all about his shot, about Mick's shot, how to take someone and fight for the heavyweight championship and trying to get him to win. But in this one, he's more like a father figure. He wants to protect him more, showing him a lot more love for Rocky in this one.
What's cat? There ain't no cats. There's no cats. Now he will beat you uglier than your eyebrow. Now listen,
You start fighting right then, and then it change sudden, and that'll make history. But first, you gotta get speed. Demon speed. Speed's what we need. We need greasy, fast speed.
Burt Young as Paulie. I don't think he's changed at all since the first one, to be fair. There's not much character development with this one, but he acts. It's still a great acting role from Burt Young. Paulie plays sort of Rocky's little sidekick. It's Adrian's brother. He's still like the drunken guy, kind of. Still playing sort of the bum of the movie.
Mark, is that the worst beating you ever took? No, you're gonna get worse if you don't get out of here.
So with the direction of the movie, it starts off really fast because it starts off with the ending of Rocky 1, the flying to the hospital. It's really fast, and the direction of the movie, I like how the movie goes, although there is a really sort of a bit in the middle where he's married and the baby's being born. That's a bit slow. I understand why that's in the movie for a first time watcher. When I sometimes watch that, like now, I'll just fast forward that bit, to be fair. But I do understand why that needed to be in the movie, because it shows you how the development of the character of Rocky. There's nothing really complex about the story. It's pretty much a straightforward story of a man, the underdog story, how he's building himself back up, and with the support of the other characters around the main character, it allows the story to move along. And I do like the way the direction of the two main fighters in the movie and brings them into the grudge match.
Hey, go get Rocky!
The score of the movie, the music in this movie, I listen to this music now. This music's on my phone. I listen to this music in the gym. And even in the slow scenes, and you've got like the slow sort of piano, it's Bill Conti that does most of the music in this. But in the training scenes and the fight scenes, they have made the music. It's not just a song they've picked out. They've made the music for this movie, and it works out absolutely brilliant. The training scenes and the fight scene with the music, and it goes along. It gets you hyped up, and that's why I still use this music when I'm in the gym, because it gets you going. The cinematography in this movie, I think it's all filmed brilliant. I think the way that they frame all the characters, it's not too close, not too far away. Even on the training scenes, I like all the way that the clip from the run into the box into the gym, over to Apollo, over to Rocky, and it suits the movie. And I think the tone of the movie with the characters, the way it's set in, the hard streets of Philadelphia really suits the movie. And obviously, you've got one of the most famous scenes in any movie, which is Rocky running up those steps towards the museum, which is one of the most sort of celebrated movie scenes ever created. Because you watch things all the time, and if I ever go to Philadelphia, the first thing I'm doing is I'm going to that museum and I'm running up the steps. I'm going to film myself doing it. I don't know if I'll ever make it to Philadelphia, but the way this movie's shot, absolutely perfect. And the way that they shoot the fight scene as well. I don't think, from all of the Rockies, I don't think there's ever been in another movie fight scenes shot better than what these fight scenes were shot. The editing of this movie has been done absolutely fantastic. The way it cuts from scene to scene, telling the story of how it goes along. There's nothing where a scene comes in where you think, why is that in there? Like, that's got nothing to do with the movie. Everything's very clean, very straightforward, goes right the way through. Like I say, the editing for those training and the fighting scenes, the editing is absolutely brilliant. The way they bring, especially the fight at the end, the way they tell the story of the fight. I'll just kind of finish off with the pace of the movie. It starts off fast, and then it goes along kind of average. And then there is a part where it drops down and it's slow. But I understand why that slow bit needed to be in the movie for the next part of the movie, which just goes like lightning fast. But rating this movie, I rate this movie 9 out of 10. As in sequels, I mean, everybody's got their own favourite sequel. I mean, obviously there's Terminator 2, The Godfather 2, things like that. But in sequel terms, I can only rate a movie by how many times I've watched the movie in a sequel. And I've watched this sequel a lot more times than I've watched any other sequel out there. So for me, Rocky 2 is the greatest sequel of all time. I know I'll get some hate about that because people, obviously, I know a lot of people like The Godfather 2 or Terminator 2 or Rambo 2, or there's lots of 2s out there, but for me, I've watched this the most times out of any. Rocky 2 for me is the best sequel of all time. And I've been trying to think of negatives in the movie, the acting, the screenplay, everything, the dialogue. I can't think of any negatives in the movie. Not one. I can't think of any negatives the way from, it starts off from the last one, exactly where it left off, and goes on. I can't think of any negatives. Nah, definitely not. So I'm Mark, and this was my review of Rocky 2. Thanks very much, and goodbye.